Hey everybody, Jim from Partner Engineering at Unstoppable Domains, and today I'm going to be walking you through 10 things you can do with your UD integration that you might not already be doing. For our domains, we have a simple endpoint that'll let you drop a visual of the domain, and that might help add a little flair to your UI depending on how you're implementing it. Let me show you an example. So where you might just be displaying text for a domain name, so maybe it's when a user is looking up a domain in your app, you can call this endpoint and drop this visual. So if a user was searching for this domain, 0xwagmewarrior.nft, you could just display it in plain text, or by using this URL, you can give them a visual display of the NFT itself. That might be a nice flair to your UI depending on how you're implementing it. It's more than just this domain too. For existing domains, there are some that might have NFTs for it. So we have our animal line of domains. You'll see each of them have a custom avatar associated with it, as well as some users set avatars themselves with NFTs they own. So using the same endpoint, you're able to generate these images for them and add that to your UI. One big best practice is to be clear to your users where they can use their domains and what type of domains they can use. It's very frequent that an application previously will have accepted wallet addresses. Now they add in functionality for more domains, but it's not clear to the user whether or not they can use those domains, or whether or not they can use ENS domains, Unstoppable domains, any type of Web3 domain. So as a best practice, we recommend being specific to the user, adding in some clarifying text. Hey, you can resolve a Web3 domain in here, enter in a Web3 domain. That gives the user a lot of clarification that right here they can use one of their domains. It's best practice when resolving NFT domains to give a visual confirmation of what address it's resolving to. Let's look at an example as to why this is so important. Let's say I'm going to send Ethereum to an NFT domain. Here you can see if this is the send bar in my field, if I go ahead and I top in an address without giving an example, it's not quite clear to the user where the funds are actually going, just for that double check. But here, if I show a preview of it, the user gets that confirmation that of what address it's resolving to. This is important because we can have many different resolution addresses associated with the given domain. So you can see here in this example, my Ethereum address is actually different than my Polygon address. So it's just that extra layer of confirmation to the user to know that the funds are going to the right spot. With Unstoppable NFT domains, we can set many different addresses for different tokens on different chains. And it's important that applications can support that. Let's take a look at an example. So here is one of my NFT domains, and as you can see, I've set some addresses for a few different tokens. And quite notably, for this reason, I have wanted to set different addresses for different tokens. So you can see that my Tether address on Ethereum is different than my Ether address on Ethereum. And that might be because I have a specific wallet for all my stablecoins, but then I have a different wallet for my Ether. Same thing, I have a different address for my ERC20 Matic, but I also have a different address for my Polygon-based Matic. Now, why that's important, obviously, is because when resolving to an NFT domain, it's important to be able to send funds to where the user would want. So just to kind of show that as an example, here is that NFT domain. Let's say I'm on Ethereum. If I wanted to send ETH, you can see that we're getting this address back just as I have set. But now if I wanted to send Tether to that address, it's updating. And likewise, if I wanted to go to Polygon and I wanted to send Matic, you can see that I'm getting the Matic address just like I've configured down in here. Dynamically support TLDs. Frequently, we update support of what TLDs our resolution service and libraries resolve with, and it's best for your implementation to make sure you're implemented in a way to support that. Let me show you an example of what I mean. Frequently, when I'm looking at integrations, I'm seeing something that looks like this. Basically, someone captures user input, checks if it matches a list of our TLDs, and then uses that logic to figure out in an if else whether or not to call resolve. Now, that's all well and fine when everything is updated. As you can see here, if the user typed in it's jimbob.nft, we're going to go ahead and call resolve for that. However, once we provide an update and we add more TLDs to our support, The implementation sometimes will gate that. So here in this example, someone has hard-coded in a list of TLDs. We've added support for .blockchain. Now, even though the library itself is updated to support it, the implementation is not, because it's just looking for that. Now, you could just go ahead and keep this list of TLDs hard-coded and updated, but that's not the right way to do it. That's not a way that's sustainable. What we've provided is an endpoint, get supported TLDs, and this simply returns back a JSON object of the supported TLDs, and it's something you can use in your implementation. As you can see, if I just do a simple HTTP GET to it, I get back a list of the TLDs. And what you can do is use this in your code somewhere. It's a REST API. It could work across any language. So you can call it on demand. You can call it asynchronously. You can cache it every couple hours or days or whatever it might be. But that way, it'll remove the need for having a hard-coded list. Reverse resolution lets you turn a wallet address into a domain name for the owner of that address. This is really powerful in things like transaction history. So here an example, let's say this is the transaction history from one of my favorite wallets. And you can see it's pretty clear that I'm sending money around, but it's not clear to who. Here I sent 420 USDC to someone. With reverse resolution in the app, it makes it a lot more intuitive for the user to remember their transaction history. So by using reverse resolution, I can easily see, oh yeah, that's right, I sent that 400 USDC to lordswoldemort.nft. Doing this is just a little thing to make the CX a lot better. Reverse resolution is totally supported in all of our standard resolution methods. So the API, the libraries, the smart contracts. So any way that you are already doing resolution, you can also do reverse resolution. Login with Unstoppable lets users share more than just their wallet address when interacting with their NFT domains. This gives Web3 apps the ability to interact with their users and get to connect with them in ways that they otherwise would not have. Let's take a look at an example of how this works. So here as a user, I have one of my NFT domains, and what I've done is I've set up a few of my social handles, my Twitter, my Discord, my Telegram. Through Unstoppable, I've verified these, so we'll get more into that in a moment. Now, from an application standpoint, what I've done is I don't want to block users that don't have certain socials from accessing my site, so I'm going to make this optional. It's totally up to the user. The user can choose if they want to share this information with me or not. So we'll go ahead and we'll begin our login process here. I'll enter in my domain name. And now what you can see is we've made this optional, as we said, so it's up to the user to choose whether they want to opt in and share this or not. For this demo, I'm going to go ahead and share that. So now I'll finish the login by signing a transaction. And now you can see some of the information that is shared. So you can see from my Twitter handle, we can see that it's verified. We can even see how many followers I have, how many people I'm following, how many tweets I've sent, and similar data for Discord, Telegram, and any of the other socials. Now again, if there's a user that doesn't want to share this information, you can have it be no problem for them. So I'll show you as a user. Now maybe I don't want to share my social with this given domain. So I'll unselect that box. I'll go ahead and sign in. And much like before, no socials given, no problem. It's totally up to the user what they want to do in this case. Login with Unstoppable gives apps a way to connect with their users. When users connect using their wallet, you don't really have a good way to get in touch with them, not a way to grow your relationship with them. But when you use Login with Unstoppable, you have a way to get in touch with the users, and that's through the optional email scope. So within the scopes of Login, we have email. What email actually is a masked email address that users can set through their Unstoppable Domains profile that will hide their personal email, but give out a ud.me email so that applications can get in touch with the user without having to reveal too much info. You can make this scope optional for the user, so if users would like to share their email with you, they have a way to do it through Login without having to collect any forms or store any information. So to see how this works, I'm going to log in with Unstoppable. I'm going to take one of my domains, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign in on the app. Signing in, and now as you can see, the email address the app gets back is the masked email address. So it's my only jimbob.crypto ud.me email address, with some machine readable type stuff at the end. But in this way, your application can have access to that user's hidden email address. It could be optional. It's totally opt-in for the user. And with that, you have a way now to get in touch with the user while still enabling the user to log in with their wallet. Give users some suggestions for NFT domains. Many applications use our Partner API to distribute domains to their users in-app. And what you can do is customize the experience to them so that the users have an idea of what domains they can get. Let's look at an example. So here I have a web app. Let's say I'm some blogger and I have somewhere in my app a way for users to get NFT domains. It's fairly typical that a user can scroll through, they could be doing whatever they want, they come across the widget, and they find it's a good idea, they want to buy some NFT domains. So what they do is they go ahead, they search for their username or whatever it might be, and then they see some results. That's all fine, but another way to get it going, if you have information about the user, is to give them some search examples to preempt them so they have an idea of what all can be done. So here's a second example. And now in this implementation, what I've done is if the user is logged in, which in this case I am, I'm looking at that user's username, and then I'm showing them some examples of some NFT domains like that username. So from a user standpoint here, same thing, I'm scrolling through, I'm looking through their blog. But now what happens is I'm given some examples of those very same domains already without having to look, and it gives just a better idea of what types of domains are out there and whether or not it's something they want to pursue. Give your users multiple checkout options. Again, in our Partner API, we have many different ways that users can purchase NFT domains, and you should, in your integration, as a best practice, give them as many options as you can. So again, let's look at this example. I'm an NFT domain site. I have a lot of content, and here I have a widget where I'm enabling users to purchase NFT domains through our Partner API. Now, user can come, they can search for something that they want to look for, such as WagMeForAll. And now let's say they want to purchase WagMeForAll.crypto. Here I've implemented multiple options for them to purchase that. One is that they can purchase on unstoppabledomains.com. So if we do this, we're redirected. It's brought up right with the domain already here for the user. They can see similar suggestions. This way, if a user wants to do it through a first-party site and have access to the customer support information on the site, they have that. But likewise, if they feel more comfortable doing it in-app, then they have still an option to purchase it in-app. Here we're gonna give a wallet address. And then finally, it's just going to bring up our Stripe API, which lets the customer enter in their credit card, purchase and mint, all right in app without having to leave. In this way, the users can have multiple options, and therefore they can get at it in many different ways.